She's a conservative and I'm liberal, and yet we've been friends for almost 40 years. Everyone says you shouldn't discuss politics, religion, or money. And we say that's exactly what friends should be talking about. Join us as we tackle the conversations you're having in your head, but are too scared to say out loud. Hello, Jolene.
You did such a nice job on that.
Oh, thank
That's so
you.
good.
Thank you.
That's so good.
You're very sweet.
Somebody should hire you to be a professional voice person.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Welcome to We've Got to Talk, you guys.
We've got to talk about this piece of hair. And if you're just listening to us, I apologize because you know what I think this is? I think this is menopause hair. I think I'm losing hair right here.
Oh.
And I'm getting this weird cowlick. And then all of a sudden I've got this weird piece of hair that just is funky all day long.
One of our viewers and listeners sent us an Atlantic article from August 14th, 2023 called How America Got Mean by David Brooks. We will put it in the show notes. There is a free trial, which is what I did. It is a very long article. You can read it, and they also have someone read it for you. I think, Jolene, you read it, correct?
I read it, yeah.
And I listened
to it. Yeah.
3 times because I kept trying to understand it, and I'm really anxious to hear your take, Jolene. For one, I got excited that it was David Brooks because he's a Catholic, and I thought, ooh, she's going to relate to him in a way that I might not necessarily, but I think he's a pretty great writer, although I found in times in this article, I found it a little pompous, and I was trying to figure out exactly what he was trying to say, and so I'm anxious to talk about it, and I'm also anxious to talk to you because as I said right before we got on, that I'm feeling a little demoralized about the state of affairs and how I really encourage all of us to do our best to either pull away from the news or understand where the news is coming from and who they're trying to target and how they're trying to instigate. Because I was talking to a girlfriend yesterday, and she's very upset about the news, and has Canadian citizenship and has been thinking about moving there. And just really, really triggered, I tasked her with the assignment of stop watching the news for 3 days, just to see how that feels. I think it's also interesting the fact that she does have the option to leave, we don't have that option, whether you want to leave or not. But we were having this discussion about how we truly in our guts believe that there are more people out there, just no matter what they align with, that are good people, that want to connect and, as this article says, like lead a life of connection in a sense of a moral foundation. And I'm trying to hold on to that when I'm not feeling that encouraged right now.
Okay, I hope then this conversation is, I hope it's really fruitful then, because I actually have a different opinion.
What were the first things that struck you? And can you share something that really resonated for you? And I can do the same.
I'm not familiar with David Brooks, but as I looked into his, background, his biography, who he is, I think he's conservative.
He's not a Trump fan, but he's he leans that way.
I guess that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was interesting because when I first started reading this article, and by the way, so it gave you the option to listen to it, which was going to be like 45 minutes or 44 minutes to listen to it. And so I timed myself going, oh, well, obviously I can read it in about 20 minutes. No, it took me 50 minutes to read this because I found myself like, right. So that was interesting. So please, listener, if you get a chance to read it, it really, or listen to it,
yes.
it really is good. But here are the things that I think my knee-jerk reaction was, and this comes from being a Christian, that our moral compass is off in America, and that there are less people that are going to church. He talks about it in terms of community, being church or civic organizations or, your school board or whatever. And I think, again, as someone who is religious, I mean, and I hate to say I'm religious because I don't like that term. Like that's so subjective. So I don't,
Right.
but religion means
Well,
something to me.
yeah.
So, okay.
And
So
you
to
are part
say,
of a church.
yes. So I feel like that's one thing that we have been saying, we meaning Christians have been saying for, the better part of 20 years that, well, if y'all would just go to church, you'd have a moral compass. Did I sound like the church lady when I said that? My best Dana Carvey. Well, not special. But I love that a lot of his focus was the business of moral formation, whether that be in schools or organizations or churches or whatever, has turned into self-awareness business. Like there's been this shift that it's not been about how can you be a member of your community and contribute to community to make things better, but now it's shifted to no, you got to look out for you and you've got to make you happy.
They were saying that the shift started, he was saying that the shift started after World War II. There was obviously so much trauma and they trying to process what happened, and the science of psychology was starting to blossom. And so it came into, let's look inside. What do I need? What do I feel? And so it's almost like, which I feel like it happens with any sort of societal shift. Ebbs and flows that like possibly, and I'm just thinking out loud, that possibly it has shifted so far, it has swung the other way that we need to find a medium where we can look within and understand where we're coming from and create community and think of others and believe in service. Like that both of them could be a place of healing and a place of a new modern moral foundation. Because what I thought was interesting, Jolene, was that he kept at the very beginning of the article, he was talking about Ben Franklin. He had a great quote about Ben Franklin, like we're totally flawed and we need rules. And I thought it was funny. And how, there were all these examples of moral code. And yet I was listening to it and thinking, but there were so many things that were screwed up and women didn't have any rights. And what I did enjoy and get out of this article was, how do we create a modern moral compass? Because there was one thing in it, a couple things that struck me, and it made a lot of sense. He talked about college students and the goals, and that in 1967, 85% were motivated to develop a meaningful philosophy of life. And by 2015, being financially well off became the leading life goal. That 82% said wealth was their goal. In 2008, people were asked, as in college students were asked, about their morality. And they said they had never had to think about it, about what was right and what was wrong. That my teachers avoid conflict like the plague, which I find fascinating because we're in this place now of the us and we, conservative, liberal, the othering that we are doing, and that it makes, and I've heard it from my nieces. I don't know if you heard it from your daughters, the sense of, oh yeah, we don't talk about that stuff in school. Oh no,
right.
Oh no. And I'm thinking, isn't that what school is for? The thing I want to read, if you don't mind, which I loved, was he brought up, there's a book from this woman named Iris Murdoch called The Sovereignty of Good. And he was saying that he thought this was the best modern approach to building character. She argues, we go about our days with self-centered, self-serving eyes. We see and judge people in ways that satisfy our own ego. We diminish and stereotype and ignore, reducing other people to bit players in our own all-consuming personal drama. But we become morally better as we learn to see others deeply as we learn to envelop others in the kind of patient, caring regard that makes them feel seen, heard, and understood. I become a better person as I become more curious about those around me, as I become more skilled in seeing from their point of view. As I learn to perceive you with a patient and loving regard, I will tend to treat you well.
Okay, so then do you go back to, because I think one of the things that he talked about was that psychology's goal is mental health, not moral growth. And so do you go back to kind of what we're being taught now from being healthy mentally, that we are to be consumed, whatever feels good to me is moral, you know? I mean, that, like, it's up to me, for me to decide what is morally correct instead of societal norms.
You know, it's such a good question because I think psychology can be incredible and really healing and really amazing. I also don't think everyone's a very good therapist.
Yeah, right.
And so, yeah.
Because can I tell you one
keep
of the
going.
things that I think that, and this is just from a personal experience,
Yes.
that I'm hearing that there is this movement within the psychology, psychiatry, therapists now dealing with, you know, these 20 and 30-year-olds. The words that are being used now are, you know, you need to set boundaries, and you need to you need to think about yourself and other people. What you expect for yourself needs to be honored instead of what other people want, and all this. And so, like, there's this whole movement that this segment of the population is alienating their family because they're being talked to in their therapy sessions to just develop your own sense, and it's your boundaries and it's your right to say what is acceptable for you and your family. And I say that this is a personal experience because as I look at it at how it affected me, and I'm thinking, no, what you're forgetting here is to honor, in this case, is to honor your grandmother. Like, you have enough respect for your grandmother that she has asked you, that she wants you to do something, that we're going to do that because your grandmother has asked for it. And I love and respect your grandmother. So just because it's something that we don't want to do, we're going to do it because we honor and love her and respect her. But on the other hand, this other person is saying, no, you need to create boundaries. And if you don't want to do that, don't do it, because that is your decision to do that. And I'm thinking, we're forgetting about this, about thinking about the other person, and we're only thinking about ourselves in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the idea of creating boundaries, which I think is important, I think it's been misconstrued. I think it's been overused. We're really, I feel like, in an extreme time, because I'm just going to pretend.
Yes.
If the grandmother is an abusive person, okay, right?
Yep.
Fair enough, right? And then
Yes.
and the person is in therapy and like, she is beating me, and I could see the therapist say, you know what? You're allowed to say no. You need to protect yourself, blah, blah, blah. But we have taken all of this therapeutic lingo, and I'm a huge proponent of therapy. It has really helped me. I've had marriage counseling. I had family counseling as a kid. Like, I am a huge believer in expressing yourself and learning how to communicate. But we are in this like it's just like hyper partisan, hyper labeled, hyper all the things that it's not all just about you. And I'm hearing what you're saying. Like, there is we have forgotten this mutual respect. This we are in a whole world, and your life is much more rich if you actually honor other people too.
Yes.
You're
exactly.
not honoring yourself. You're just honoring other people. And I think too, Jolene, it sort of goes into this, we're in this place where people just can't sit in their discomfort. They can't. Right? They don't like being uncomfortable, and they won't do it. I actually brought this as a prop because I'm very excited because Monica Guzman is going to be our very first guest on We've Got to Talk. She's coming on a couple weeks, and I'm really excited for us to pick her brain. But I'm rereading her book so I can prepare for her. And she talks about like this idea, like on Instagram, for instance, or social media, where someone will say, "This is my opinion and unfollow me if you don't like it."
Yeah.
Really? So there's no discourse. No one can.
Yep.
And I'm thinking to myself, I was talking to Josh about it, like, if your opinion is so set in stone that no one can talk to you, no one can give another thought.
Right.
I believe that something's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's nothing total.
Right.
Right.
And so we've lost the ability to dissent without having it be anger.
And we've forgotten the whole person, right, Jolene? Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry that you don't want to hang out with your grandmother. You're going to hang out with your grandmother because it's a kind thing to do. And then actually when you're with your grandmother, you might have a moment where you actually are like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm here. I'm really having a nice time.
Absolutely.
And if you don't, so what? Do it anyway.
Right. Just because it's the right thing to do. And so have we lost that moral compass to say sometimes you just do things out of respect. You do things out of making another person feel good about themselves.
Yeah. Another thing that came up in the article that I found interesting, he said that, we're in an era of deep loneliness, which we've talked about before. He said in the article that half of Americans say that no one knows them well. Can you just think about that? So he was saying that lonely eras are violent eras. When the pain is not transformed, it gets transmitted. That we are in a time of lashing out, anger, vindictiveness. On this, and this is both sides. It has nothing to do with right or left.
Right.
It is exactly just where our humanity is right now. And he said that lonely people are 7 times more likely to be involved in politics because it helps them feel a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose. But what I thought was wild was he said the morality is not based on conduct anymore, but where you lie on the political spectrum. And so you're either more moral as a liberal or more moral as a conservative, depending on your tribe. Just liking on Instagram or whatever you're doing, are we teaching people to feed the hungry or sit with a grieving person? Those are the things we're not teaching anymore. And yes, I'm imagining it happens in church or synagogue or the mosque, or yes, I think there is some religious foundations, but I think, I just remember, actually, Josh made a really good point that it's just striking me, that he said, and you can relate to this being a parent, when you have like 2 and 3-year-olds and everything is just like, it's mine. They're in that like grabby, I'm the most important thing. And then they go to kindergarten and they see that there are other people in class. And this is not about religion at all. It's about a sense of sharing and community and being kind to each other and respecting each other. I am in wholehearted agreement with you, I think, on this, which I'm finding very exciting.
We agree on it.
We agree on it.
No, I agree. And I, in fact, I had that same quote written down that lonely people are 7 times more likely to get involved in politics, and that they're seeing politics as a form of social therapy. Mm-hmm. So you combine that, though, with the fact that social media rewards, the algorithms reward anger.
Yes.
And now you've created this powder keg. And where people are finding then their sense of community with a political party or a political issue, and then so you go to the only social community that you have, and that's online. And the only thing that gets attention and gets shared and gets likes are when the anger, and he even talked about, you don't get a lot of, you don't go viral for being kind to somebody. You go viral for yelling at someone.
That's right.
I mean,
That's
how
right.
many times have we seen the airplanes, the people on the airplanes that are, have lost their crap, or in an airport or a restaurant, or,
Well,
those are the things that we see all the time.
yeah, and that was actually in the article about like restaurants. They're now finding that they're throwing out customers once a week that never, because they were rude, because they've never done that, never happened before, or nurses are leaving the medical profession because people are just being so abusive. It's like,
Right.
what is happening here?
So let's go back to the schools.
Yeah.
Are we not, because David Brooks kind of talked about this in the context of schools, that we're not teaching morality in schools anymore because they're afraid to offend someone. Is that is that where you have talked about that we've gone so far, and there's been a lot of good that has come about, obviously, in the world for, we don't make rude jokes like we used to, and
Right.
we don't make some of the off-color comments that just used to be accepted. Now we've said, no, that's offensive. So there has been good that has come from that growth. However, have we gone so far that we've just lost that we've lost the moral, again, the moral clarity to be able to correct people when they've said something, or done something, or they, have an outburst in class, or they, are disrespectful to the teacher, and the teachers are too afraid to stop them now. How many times have we seen this, even as in young, elementary aged kids in classrooms, where the teachers are now taking everyone else out of the classroom while that one person has a meltdown, and they have to bring somebody else in to deal with that one person, and they have to take out the other 28 kids out of the classroom and disrupt everybody else because they're afraid to discipline that child, or, control that child. And maybe those are, kids that have a greater issue than just moral,
Sure.
moral clarity. But the concept is still the same, I mean, what are you teaching the other kids when you're not correcting them?
Not correcting them, and also not teaching people how to either de-escalate a situation, communicate with respect and kindness, even when you don't agree. I agree with you, Jolene, because we've labeled each other so much that we can't escape the labels now. Now we're in jail. We're in jail inside our label. And we all make this decision, okay, you're a conservative, you're a liberal, you are black, you are white, you are gay, you are trans, you are this. And so we're not allowed to actually be all the things. Or have a bad day or anything.
Yeah.
And for fear that the phone will come out and you will be canceled.
Absolutely.
And all. And so these teachers and these kids are like, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe
these kids are like, now I don't know what to think.
Yeah.
I was going to ask a
Right.
question, but I'm too scared to. If there was some sort of solution, because the thing that I thought was also interesting was he brought up that through all of this has happening, that the Mr. Rogers documentary and Ted Lasso are two of the most watched, most loved pieces of film television that have come out in this really divisive time, that we are craving kindness and connection. And I feel like, as I was reading this article, that I love the idea that it starts really young, but I also love the idea, because I feel like we're in this hyper-partisan time, that I get worried, I guess, that God would just get in there. And a lot of people don't want God in the school. We were founded on the separation of church and state, even though it's very blurred right now. So I feel like if you aren't a religious person, that doesn't mean you aren't a good person or have a moral code. Like, we have made
Absolutely.
everything black and white, right? Everything extreme.
So I would agree that you're right. It's not, I don't think it's just church, but it's,
But sometimes
Girl
it's built
Scouts
in
and
there.
Boy Scouts.
Yes,
It's,
absolutely.
it is wanting to be on the school board
Right.
because, or the city council, or, your HOA. I mean, it's like,
And
have
having
we,
models, having like those church leaders, those scout leaders, and as we've
yeah,
seen lately, the school boards are quite bananas now. Like,
right?
it's all gotten so.
Because who wants to be on a school board right now if you're just going to get yelled at by, some parent?
That's true.
I mean, they're like, and parents though don't feel like they have any say, and so they go berserk at a school board meeting to get attention. And I mean, the whole thing is just. Here's the other thing that he said that I thought was really important too, was the polarization that we have right now in our society is taken so to such an extreme that they're seeing opposing views as immoral, or dangerous. And
Yes.
we see this in political talk, like Donald Trump is a danger. I mean, this is going to be the last election that we've ever known. I mean, but to go to that extreme then again just heats up the rhetoric, and to where, again, if that's your only social connection, that's all you're hearing, then yeah, I can understand why your friend
Yes.
wants to go to Canada and go, I'm leaving.
Forget this. I mean, and she actually has a beautiful group of friends. Like, she's not one of the people that has no one that knows her, right? She's got a loving, supportive community, and her nervous system is totally upset. It's like, time to pull back. Time to pull.
What about America? And I'm asking you to speak for her. So, I mean,
Okay.
if you don't know, that's fine. But what about
What
she's
is upsetting her?
experiencing? Yeah. What does she want to leave?
Well, I think.
And what would leave do for her?
Well, so that's interesting, because what she is experiencing, because she has Canadian relatives, and the way they are seeing the news, and the way she has said that the international community is looking at America and saying, Donald Trump's a dictator. He's going for power grabs. We are done. And so she is spun out. And I did ask her that. I was like, well, what would you do if you left? And she
Yeah.
had, her mom is Canadian, and her dad has passed, but her dad was American, and her dad was an activist. And she said, you know what? I think my dad would want me to stay and help. And I'm like, okay. I said, that's a beautiful thing. And that is totally who she is as a human. And as we talked, it calmed her down, because it was all of a sudden like, wait, I have power.
I think it goes to this decline in community,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that she doesn't feel like she's got her community of friends, but in maybe the community that she works in, or volunteers in, or whatever, that community is only dealing with the outrage right now, right? I mean, if you've got bad news that is all, 24/7, if you're, only listening to all the bad news, and the media is only sensationalizing the outrage, then yeah, I can understand that she's absolutely at her wit's end.
Yes.
And so your advice to her to quit watching the news is absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Like, if you wanted to watch the news for a half hour in the morning and a half hour at night just to kind of see what's going on, and then make dinner and listen to music and go
Yes.
read a book and meet with your friends and go for a walk.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and she was explaining to me that there's someone in her life that keeps sending her really charged videos. And here I was like, here's where therapy comes in. I was like, you need to draw a boundary and tell her no. Right? Because that's like, that's not good for you, girl.
There's your boundary.
That is not good for you. And she did. And the person didn't listen and is continuing to. which makes me think that here we are in this state that people are like really wound up.
Yep.
Maybe brainwash sounds too dramatic, but could be. We're so manipulated by social media. We are so manipulated. And then, honestly, listener and viewer, like your life is just going to go away. Like it's going to be and you're just going to be busy in a screen. I mean, I love that you're here with us, and we want you to be with us and
be on the screen
and be on the screen and talk to us and try to figure out how we can move forward, because life is
because you are being manipulated.
That's right, girl.
You are being manipulated, and you've got to take control of your own happiness.
That's right. That's right. And that you want to belong and you want to be involved in politics, okay. You want to be informed, okay. Understand that we've, in the last 7-8 months that we have been on the air, we have realized how much we have had to, where is this source? How is it being talked about? Wait a minute. And then stepping back and saying, well, what do I feel? Yes, I'm a liberal, but what the hell does that mean? I'm Nicole with all of my thoughts and my feelings and my experiences, which is so much more than being a liberal. Just like Jolene, she's so much more and has right?
But also, yes, 100%, but also listening to the other side with empathy. I mean,
absolutely.
That's the other part, that if you're only, we've said this 100 times, if you're only watching the news station that aligns with your values or is aligned to a certain point of view, and all of your social media is only feeding you a point of view, got to get out of that cycle, because it does not serve you. And you've got to be able to either have a conversation with someone who thinks differently and listen with empathy and ask questions. And that's what we're not doing right now.
And also, someone sent me, it was a Daily Show thing, which was very liberal, but it was I was a comedian, Ronnie Chang, who I adore, and how he, they tour as comedians all over the country, and how he loves this country. And he would go into middle America and he's like, everyone is nice. Like when you think about being in person, and even if it's an exercise of imagining before you write that mean comment on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, take a deep breath and imagine that person sitting right in front of you with an open, smiling face, ready to listen to you. Are you going to actually say those mean things? You might not. And so what he was saying, he was like, it's so different when you're in person. All I got was kindness. And he's like, and I trust that more of us are good in this country. And it has nothing to do with red or blue. It has to just do with that we all want very similar things. We want to be seen and loved and heard and understood, and maybe, and safe. We all want that.
Can we talk about a good for your soul?
Of course. Of course. Would you like to go first?
If I could, please.
Please, of course.
Because it's tied in so well.
Okay.
It is What Could Go Right, progressnetwork.org. And the title of the article is We Haven't Given Up on Gen Z. It talks about all of the good things that the Gen Zers are doing. So here's the list. They're prioritizing wellness. They're smoking less. They're doing less drugs, and they're drinking less than other generations, prior generations. They are committing less crime. There's less burglary amongst the Gen Zers, less robberies, less stolen cars than boomers, Xers, or millennials. They're looking at the 90s to create the future that they want. So they are going back to vinyl records and board games and photo albums, that they're looking at the 90s as what they want for their future. They are choosing trades over college, that more Gen Zers are now looking after high school, looking at trade school at a higher rate than going to college than other prior generations.
Is that because of the cost?
It has to do with cost. It has to do with AI, and looking at what are those jobs that are going to be most available in the future. This is fantastic. Women aged 25 to 34 are making 95 cents to every man. This is the first time in history that women are at that high of a rate making what men are.
Really?
In that age group. Yep.
And this is on progressnetwork.org.
Yep. And the last one is that 35 states are restricting phones in schools, and what an influence that is making on kids.
Thank God. I mean, can you imagine being in school with a fucking phone? Sorry, Linda.
Sorry,
I
Linda.
mean, come on.
Absolutely not.
Honestly, Jolene, the fact that it ever was okay is mind-boggling to me. And when the parents are like, I need to find my kid. We found each other fine without the phone.
I remember
I can't
saying to
believe
my
it.
girls, no, I want you to have your phone in case there's a school shooting. I need to get a hold of you.
I know,
I mean,
that
really?
part's
I mean, is
awful.
that, I mean, that is the thought process.
Yes.
But honestly, I mean, I can't imagine having as a 16-year-old being able to not be distracted by a phone. Why are we asking them to make that decision? Why?
No.
Like, no.
And their brains, they don't have the maturity or cognitive skills to say, you know what, Mom and Dad, you're right. I'm not going to use the
I'm
phone.
going to put my phone down.
Yes, I will do that. It will be fine.
It's almost like the Gen Zers are looking at how bad, our society has, like, have we gotten to the,
Yes.
bottom of the barrel here, and they're finally the ones going, I feel like I'm going to do some things differently.
I love vinyl, first of all. This is a segue, everybody. When we were in Japan, we were in Tokyo, and we went to this bar that was a thing called Tokyo Music Bar. And you pay a cover of like $6, and you go in. You don't have to drink. They do have an amazing cocktail. You don't have to drink. And they do have food if you want. But they had this beautiful wall of like a sound system and thousands of albums. And you sit there and you listen to records. They have a DJ, and you're just like, you're having conversation and you're listening to music like you're hanging out in your living room. And it was so much fun. And they're doing it in New York now, too. Thank you for sharing that, Jolene. That really...
I know. Doesn't that give you
heart
hope?
some hope. It really does.
I agree.
It really does. And honestly, this conversation really gave me hope. It was very cup-filling today. I hope, listener and viewer, it was cup-filling to you. We will put this article in the show notes. I will do my best to put as a gift link and hope that it works. If not, you can easily do the 30-day trial and just remember to unsubscribe if you don't want to keep subscribing to The Atlantic, although there's some pretty amazing articles and photography exhibits and really cool things that they offer at The Atlantic. I wanted to share a good for the soul. This woman, Brooke Berman, who is actually in 2 weeks, she has done an interview with me and Jolene, and it's very exciting. She's been incredibly generous with her time and her questions and her trying to unravel and get her head around what we're doing here. But she has a Substack, and she has a friend that also has a Substack. And so she sent me a new media source that I think is, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect for Good for the Soul. So this Good for the Soul is called Ground News, which is www.ground.news. And I will put this in the show notes. It's not so much a media organization, but they compile the day's news from every source imaginable, which is over 50,000 sources. Ground News is more like a media literacy tool. So with each news story, they provide you a list of which publications are covering that news, how those publications are covered, and where their bias tends to be, who funds them, and how factual they are, which I thought was fascinating. They also show how much coverage any particular news story is getting on the right and the left, and which news is falling into blind spots for either side. I guess once you subscribe, you can log in where you are and focus on the local news of your area as well. What a cool thing. I mean, I'm assuming if they're tracking 50,000 sources a day, they're using AI.
Yeah.
They have to be.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. I mean, that's incredible.
Right? They have to be. Do you have any other thoughts about our topic today, Jolene, before we do our Would You Rathers?
I think we continue to dig in deeper each week with things that we're questioning, that we're not just taking at face value, and we're really kind of trying to figure out why things are the way that they are, and not just accepting things the way that they're presented to us. Mm-hmm. And that's really the most important thing, is really just trying to dig in deeper and go, wait, does this serve me or doesn't it? And if it doesn't, get rid of it.
Right. And thinking of yourself also as we are all together. We are all people. Yes, we are all Americans, but even that is a label. We're asking each other to do the hard work, but you actually get more out of it when you treat people with respect. Your life is better. You feel better. Yeah. It's a richer experience. So even if you're into the I, do it for the I then. It'll make you feel better. Being kind to people. Yeah. And being curious. 100%. I think being curious. And also understanding, when you have that reaction, I don't agree. Take a deep breath and ask why.
Yeah.
Would you rather drink from a toilet or pee in a litter box?
God.
Listen, I was a little stressed out about today's conversation, and I was feeling not very hopeful, and I was like, I need to do something either gross or light or both, and so that's what I gave you, girl.
And there it is. Well, I guess I'd rather pee in a litter box.
Yeah, who wants to drink from a toilet? No one.
Why would you drink from a toilet?
I don't know. Peeing from a litter box, I mean, gnarly. But
now, do I have to do it like a cat? I mean, I'm not really sure, physically how to do that.
Well, don't cats do it the same way we do it?
Well, I don't mean,
don't they squat?
Squat?
I guess.
Yeah, I don't.
And then you have to use your paws to scratch.
Then I'm going to have to dig it. Yeah. To bury it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Would you rather have everyone be brutally honest with you, or have everyone be fake nice?
Oh, brutally honest. I hate fake nice.
Really?
Oh, fake nice. I smell fake nice. I do not trust a person who is fake nice. And brutally honest is weird too, because when someone's like, I want to be honest with you, that's their fucking opinion. It's not honest. I don't really like that either, but if I have to choose, yeah, I don't like fake nice. I really, when I'm meeting in person or becoming a friend, I'm like, I want to know what's really going on in there. Mm-hmm. Because then I feel like I can trust you, or I can.
But I know, but you said that you're a sensitiva.
I am, girl, but don't give me fake nice. Because fake nice people seem more mean.
Yeah.
And brutally honest is mean too. Why?
Yeah.
Why then they're is America so mean?
Right?
I don't know. What would you choose? Fake nice?
No, I think I'd want everybody just to be fake nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because then nobody can be mean. And then you don't have the mean things on social media and the mean people and the mean, just everybody just pretend to be nice.
I just don't trust that.
Yeah, no, that is true.
All right, girl.
I know. That's why we play the game.
That's why we play the game. Well, thank you guys.
All right, my friend.
For listening and going on this ride with us. And please give us a thumbs up on YouTube and like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Did you want to say something, Jolene?
I just wanted to say thank you to our subscriber, our listener, our person who sent us this article.
Yes.
And we love, I love getting this kind of stuff and asking us to look into or to talk about something. I love that. So please feel free to contact us and give us something to think about and talk about.
And you can contact us at we'vegotttotalk.com, Instagram, Facebook. Gosh, what else?
You could just call Nicole on her cell phone. Her number is.
No, don't do that. Oh my gosh. Okay, time to go. Thank you guys. I'll see you on the other side, Joe. Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.
We've Got to Talk is produced across the world by the wildly talented, creative, and hilarious team at Bambi Media. Our theme song is Jump Jive Swing by Space Train Unlimited. Thank you so much for listening, and join us every week for another episode of We've Got to Talk.